Pow Wow, yo yippee, yay! This is Pow Wow DAO number 4. Super excited to be with you guys. So we're gonna talk about directly into something really big again. Steemit, what's happening with Justin's son, and all the different organizations that behind it. Tron. Then we're gonna talk about number 2 about this new CoronaCoin. What the is that? Number 3, we're gonna talk about obviously who is this new big crypto bank in the States that is about to launch multiple different products. Then obviously, where is Bitcoin and Ether heading to finally get some cool updates about the Wealth app. With that being said, last week, guys, I asked many of you to please be kind to send a lot of different pictures. And you know what? You really did this. It's super cool. I mean, I really love it. Thank you so much for these great pictures. Thanks to Michelle, to Danielle, and all the Merton crew. Thank you so much for that. For Richard, Riza, Remy, Michel, GM, Strella, Gerard, Colin. There's so many faces here, it's hard to say, but thank you so much. It's really cool to all have you here. It's really cool DAO pictures. It really shows how we are great. These pictures are from a lot of people around the world. I'm sure we'll have more and more. If you guys want to add any of the pictures and you think about it, please do that. Just to be sure, that bus, by the way, I think so. It's awesome. It's not a real picture, but it really looks super cool. It could be a great advert. I don't know if this is maybe a bus in Bern or maybe in Germany. Not too sure where it's from, but that 660 bus is really cool. Thanks for all these beautiful pictures and memes, and there are a lot of funny ones and very artistic at the same time. I think it's really cool to have all this. So thanks again, guys. So, what's happening news of the week? As you guys know, Justin's son is taking over the entire ecosystem, right? We talked about this for the last 2 weeks, that Steemit is going to Tron. Yeah, well, this is quite a big thing happening in the crypto industry, and it's quite unfortunate because when you look into what really is happening is that if you go on Steam's so Steemit, right? Steemit was a protocol that was on Steam and a dApp on Steam, sorry, and there was Steam powers that essentially gave you the ability to control the network, and it was quite decentralized. There's multiple token holders around the world, and they would control the protocol, the content, and all of that. And well, Justin really wanted to do this in a really not shady way, but a very hostile takeover, and obviously that is not as good as people have thought about it. And now we're seeing like this is getting centralized through the different exchanges, because Justin's son has stakes in Binance, has stakes in Polynex and Huobi as well, and essentially all the Steam power went to very few amount of people, which is really not cool at all. And that shows that blockchain is here to have a consensus model and consensus governance that goes with it. And really, if that doesn't happen, well, there's no real point of having a blockchain system. It's going back to a centralized system again. So that sucks for Steemit. That means probably what's going to happen is there's been a fork. They're going to probably have Steemit. They'll run in through their original protocol or maybe on the same one, or and they'll probably have the Tron Steemit. So we're going to see what's going to happen. I know that tomorrow there's a big talk. And we'll see what Justin has in his head. That shows as well that how immature I would say this unfortunately industry is at some extent, because I mean, when you go for an M&A, you really have to make sure that everyone's on board. If not everyone is on board, or there's just a few minorities, it doesn't matter. But if there's like big key players with an organization, you should really do this in a smooth, smart way. You cannot just buy a thing and say, this is mine. Because if not, what you lose is like the main founders of those projects, and essentially they'll spin off, do something else, and probably much better. And it's not like Steemit has 5 million users today, right? If you take it over, it's not like you're getting all that. You're just getting a really cool, a dApp. But if the core founders are not on it, well, the main users will probably stick to that philosophy and we'll move on. So it might be like a really poor acquisition strategy that was led by Tron. We'll see how things happen, but it smells super fishy, and I don't think that you fool around with decentralization and DEOs. Corona token. Yeah, this is wow. I don't know what to say. First, technically, this looks like a really scammy. This looks like all like the 2017 type of websites that we used to have as ICOs, like template thing. Then what is the CoronaCoin? Well, essentially, it's the ERC20 token that enables you to that each time there's someone who gets the virus, they're burning essentially tokens. So the more people are contagious, essentially, the more the token will be valuable if you invest into it. Right now, there's very small amount of volume anyways. So there's 85,000 people tokens burned so far because there's 85,000 that are contagious. What it is in some way, it's a way how you could speculate on the fact that coronavirus will be successful as a virus, or on some other ways. It's what insurance policies does as well, and ethically, I think so. It sucks. They're saying though they're giving 20% to the Red Cross, La Croix Rouge, but that we don't know. I definitely not recommend this project. I just think it's weird and funny at the same time that people are speculating on this. I don't recommend it. But as I said, for a long time, there's been traded life insurance policies that's been doing. So you could trade already on yours. You could even trade on with different other people in the States and UK. This has some way a same spin out of it, but don't think that it's as cool as it looks like. The third big news of the week is Avanti. So Avanti is it's a bank now that is based in Wyoming. So Wyoming is a state in the States where essentially they're trying to bring in DLT to the next level, and by making sure that there's no like leverage or toxic investment to DLT. So now, if you have that license in Wyoming, you can essentially accept a crypto. So you could deposit crypto into these different institutions, and they want to do that for the entire world. So it's a little bit like Puerto Rico is trying to do, and try to then federalize that into the entire United States of America. We've been talking to a few people because one of our guys, Andrew, that's based in the States, knows these guys very well at Wyoming. So we'll see how things go. It might be a great way to actually provide our services on the long run to the US, as we cannot do today. So we'll stick to it and look more carefully if this is happening or not. Quote of the week. This goes to be something very important, right? Whereas that physically robust infrastructure is not enough if it fails to foster healthy community. Ultimately, all infrastructure is social, and that is so true, and is exactly what we've been preconizing the most at SwissBorg, is to build best products and services, but with you guys. Why we're doing referendums, why today I'm talking to you, is exactly because we foster the community, and we believe in the community is the most essential sign of success. It's not the product. It's the vision that we share together, and that we bring it to have great products, great services, and that how it can make a greater good. But it's first the community and then the products, right? So there's a great use example, which in the case is this. In France, maybe some of you guys know this, is the Minitel. This is one of the biggest bankruptcy in France. The Minitel had own protocol. It was a way for people to like exchange messages or to look up for things. They had some porn activities. It was 3615 ULA. I know all the French people who remember that one. Actually, when I arrived in France, from the States, I was seeing all these signs on the thing. It was 3615 Pipa. I never knew what pipa means, so I was like to my mom, like, why is a woman running 3016 pipa? What is that? And she's like, oh, nothing, doesn't matter. And each I was walking to school, I would see that sign. Alex, you would remember that. It was super awkward. But anyways, it was before the internet, and they had a community in France, which was quite big to some extent, but they weren't able to essentially sell it to other countries. And obviously, it happened to be that 36 scans pipa didn't be so successful at they all, it went to then after internet, and this died out. And because they didn't have the biggest community behind it, it was a great thing for France, but only for France, maybe some in Italy and other countries. But it wasn't able to grow their community. It was very nationalized. So Bitcoin, what are we looking? On the long run, we're very confident that things are going quite well. We're still over that essentially that moving average, and the consolidation looks like it's still on a growth opportunity, especially that we're over that 8,800 big support. And the moving average we're looking here, it's at the 20-day, the one that most people look at. On the short run, it is a little bit complicated right now, right? We're seeing that now that resistance that's at 9,000, that support that's at 8,000, and it is ranging between those two, right? And looking at different MACDs, this one's the 12. We could really see that the channel is still not, there's still not enough, let's say, good news to break that 9,000 small resistance. And that support hasn't been really tested so much. So we're still in a nice territory. It's hard to see exactly, on a daily basis where we're heading, but the momentum is still bullish. In terms of correlation with the markets, we've seen recently that last week with the coronavirus, over 11% was lost on the financial markets, which was a massive swing we haven't seen for some time. And there has been some correlation, but it's not as strong. So it's hard to predict that if Bitcoin is gold or if it's a new asset. As we talked about last week, it behaves in some way that is sometimes correlated to the markets on the downturn, not on the upside though. And the same that goes with gold. So it really shows that it has its own market, which is great. Ethereum in the short run, same. We're really channeling against BTC at 0.2045 and 0.28. The momentums look still quite healthy. We're quite confident that we could have a great boom on there too. Now let's talk about Algorand. So Algorand is being around for some time now. You probably heard about it. They had their first auction that happened on the 22nd of June, which I thought was extremely well done. Their protocol essentially, it's a permissionless pure proof of stake blockchain. It was founded by a big searcher at MIT, Silvio Micali, and he was a award touring guy and all that. So there's definitely a great tech team that goes with it. They had a very interesting ICO. They call it an auction. So it's actually a Dutch auction, where essentially you didn't know really what was the price of the ICO. They wanted to have a Dutch auction in dollars, saying that based on the demand and the price, you would essentially log into their platform and say, I want to buy it at like $1 or I want to buy it at 50 cents. And basically the highest bidder would get it. And it was a really interesting mechanism, which they actually consolidated at 240. They raised $60 million. It really showed that people enjoyed very much this Dutch auction. We always thought about this at SwissBorg, and we always thought that this would be a cool way to precisely get really a good balance between the demand and the offer for essentially STO or an ICO. Right now, it's 35 ranked in CoinMarketCap, which is quite good, and a high amount is being staked. And the reason why it's being staked, well, is a proof of stake. That's the most use case, which shows that there's a high yield as well. If people actually stake it for 5 years, you get a 40% yield on that, which is actually really good. and essentially the more you stake it, the more you get yield on it. Um, Something which is quite crazy about this project as well is that you are able to essentially redeem as well. To be reimbursed the token. So that's quite a mechanism. Is quite crazy, which is that. So right now the token is like minus 85%, something like that. It's trading at 25 cents or 30 cents, something like that. And what you essentially could do is that a year from June 19th, so in 4 months, 5 months, you'll be able to actually send it back if you're not happy. So if you bought it at $2.40, and to get 90% back on that, so you would get roughly 24 cents. So you get it at $2.16 roughly, right? And I think that's a good way to show confidence that people they're confident in their model, though $2.16 from the price of today, it is, yeah, that's still, you still have to go at least 6x almost, which is quite crazy when you think about it. So we'll see how this happens, because I'm sure a lot of people will be willing to reimburse from their purchase price if they staked it. If they haven't staked it, well, and they sold it on the market, they won't be able, obviously, to rebuy it back. But I think so. It's a great way to show confidence into their model. Then, when you look at their website, sorry guys, when you look at the website, you see that they're quite institutionalized. They're back with a great team and technology, and they're saying that essentially they're able to process 5,000 transactions within a second, and it's hard to know if it's true or not. There's already through different use cases. They want to go be big in Marshall Islands with their own crypto that Marshall Islands is willing to do for the last 2-3 years. They have Tether as well, stable coins. Then they have different projects that are looking for digital ID in Africa. There's some e-money as well. So I think so. They're doing quite well. They're very ambitious. They really want to bring in DeFi to the next level. We'll look into this more seriously, but I think so. It is something to look for. I'm just a little bit afraid about this auction that most people will probably get reimbursed in next year if they haven't staked for the 5 years, right? If they staked only for 1 year and they want to get reimbursed, I don't know if in terms of treasury how these guys are going to manage to essentially give back $54 million. So that's going to be a little bit complicated one. So we'll see how things go from there. But nevertheless, great team, and they have a great amount of embassy programs and a lot of different things that are going around the world. So we'll look into it more seriously June 19th to see if they're going to stick to that reimbursement policy. If they do, well, we'll see how much is left, and they might be good contenders for the future of proof of stake. Geo swag of the week, guys. It's really cool. Whatever you're doing, every project is being filled. We're super excited. Crypto report. It was so well written. You guys did such an amazing job that this amazing crypto market company, which is called the Capital.io, is publishing on their website, but as well through Medium, all our different articles once a week. We'd like to do that for other different blogs. I think so. It's really cool to have people rating what we're doing, and it's a great thing to grow our community. So really proud of all you guys. We hope we have more people that will be rating our content and coming to our ecosystem. Talking about ecosystem, how many players are we right now on the community app? Yes, baby, 88,500. That is great. Still, a growth that is first is completely free. That we're really not paying for this growth. It's coming by its own, by referrals, by people enjoying it. But thanks to the great ratings. If you guys haven't rated the community app, please do it. Comment it. That helps a lot in the different app stores. We're really happy about this. If you guys haven't been able to get the Hall of Famer again, as I always say, try harder. Kryptonite, YouTube influencer, the Moon, one of this Bitcoin maximalists, really smart guy, not like some Bitcoin maximalists like too hardcore. Swedish dude that I personally met and talked and had a very long conversation with him. Very much enjoyed this guy. Young guy that loves technical analysis. He has a massive community. Obviously, you probably have heard of him. You know, he has over 20,000 to 30,000 views on his YouTubes on a daily basis. This is a great interview that Alex made, Kryptonite on the Road at the World Economic Forum. So it's airing tomorrow night. So you guys have to check it out. And like it and comments, please. Events, as you guys know, next week in London for Crypto Compare, DeFi versus Centrify, and best of both worlds, obviously. Blockchain on Chain as well. We're having great speakers. Hope you make it. This will be 2 days later in London. Regarding the beta, so we're about to finish the beta app. Last week we had a massive tests on Tuesday, which it didn't work so well. The database now cluster was totally configured. The resource location and CPU RAM was as well changed. And it really enabled us to favor the ledger and the rating service as well. What does that happen is that now we had a similar test yesterday, and it went like bam, bam, bam. Every transaction was so fast. It was super good, super exciting. That shows us that we're getting ready to scale that baby and to scale that baby and to scale that baby and to bring more and more transactions to make sure this is ready for everyone. What does that mean for you guys? We are about to finish the beta one. So you need to withdraw all your fiat and crypto in the Wealth app for that first beta launch. And yes, this is great and this is new. We're having a second beta test that's going to start this Friday. If you guys received your invitation, that is awesome. If you haven't, I'm super sorry about that, but it was based on different filters. If you really, 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 really want to get the beta to get in and to try it out, please send me a message. Maybe the best comment in this video will get a beta for sure too, okay? To make sure that happens. And for that, you'll then have to share your email, and we'll send that to Anthony and the product team, and they'll let you know what to do. With that, you have to make in mind, what is the product updates? What's the roadmap? You guys loved so much the Bitcoin daily analysis that we said probably need to do that for crypto in general. So for Bitcoin, CHSB, and Ether. And we said, well, you know, maybe you could go a little step further, as we always do at SwissBorg, right? We said, nah, let's not do that on a daily basis. Because if one wakes up at different times, trades at different time, it could change. So yes, we're going to do this on an hourly basis. I know it sounds crazy, but we really want you guys to get the best experience, investment experience, and to make sure that you are profitable and that you always are accompanied by the best way with our essentially data and finance team. And what is that? What enables you to do, obviously, to do the best risk management possible. Enables you to understand that you have probably a very good brain and you're super smart, no doubt about that. But our algos are so crazy, analyzing so multiple different frameworks at different levels of intervals of time, that this will only help to boost you and really get that Borg out of that Swiss, right? It enables as well to really go for identification of support and resistance levels. You don't need to do all your TA and you know, spend so much time. It does it automatically for you. What you have to know is that it did outperform. So most of our levels outperforms essentially our users based on the community app. So this is going to be pretty much the same going forward. So you should definitely listen to this and really look into it. It's really going to be a great way. What are the current algorithms that we have? The first one is Cyber Predictor. You guys know what's a Cyber Predictor, right? It's Cyber Predictor, you know, it's a great way that enables to one single algorithm to look at all historical data and the past and for the different indicators to analyze all of that and try to anticipate the future. It had a great confidence level. It's even greater with a SwissBorg token, CHSB. So if it tells you essentially, like if it's confident over 60%, then you're pretty sure that there's a high level of chance that you should buy the CHSB. It's a little bit not as high that goes with the Bitcoin and Ethereum, but it's still doing a great job and has a very great confidence level. And again, it's a combination of indicators and AI. Then support resistance. So you have those channels. We talked about this already. But it's a great way, again, it automatically retrieves every hour to see what is the resistance, what's the support and what is the resistance at every level. And I think so it's a great way to essentially make sure if you're a chartist to look at it and make your own forecast if you're confident to do so. SB indicator. So if you guys believe in moving averages, Fibonacci, RSIs, MACDs, and others, this is the best combination of all of it. Okay, it takes all these different indicators, it sums it up and tries to channel what's the tendency based on the current actions, right? The current indicators. It doesn't look at mostly only at past data, but at present, and tries to anticipate the future. So that is really the best way. If you're multiple trading, you should go with that. And it's a great way to, again, if you're more tactical, SB indicator is really one of the best ones. Not but not least, we say we're not going to stop there. We're going to try to make, like, if you're not too sure which one to follow, we're going to make a text generation. All of that is automatically done to give you essentially a stage of what is the market indicators, what can you expect at the best. And it's a great way for you to, again, build your strategy and make sure that you're confident to buy or sell these different assets. I love the cyber predictor. I love the channels as well, and I obviously am a big fan of SB indicator. So it's a great way for you guys to train even better and make sure that you're confident by doing so. As you guys know, well, I love doing this. I love to have comments and feedback as well. If there's something we need to change, adapt, if there's cooler things to be brought, more importantly, I'm really so happy that you guys sent me these beautiful pictures. And yeah, super excited. So as always, my name is Cyrus, your proud founder and CEO of SwissBorg, here to serve you. Please comment, like, and share. Love you guys. Bye.